For those black people who like to shame spiritual people for honoring our ancestors, I want you to remember this. What is your age? Mine is 37. So to think that to know that my ancestors were enslaved for 400 years, and that religion that those white people gave you did not take them out of it. It kept them in it for 400 years. So I'm going to honor my ancestors. I'm going to do whatever it is I got to do to make sure that they know that I know the sacrifice that they made unwillingly for 400 years. That religion did not save y'all, bro. Like, what? I don't understand why y'all can't see that. Do y'all not know what the fuck 400 years is? That's a long time. Why would people who want to keep you slaves for 400 years give you the source? Why would they give you the source, man? Oh my God, I don't think I understand. This message been on me for days. It been heavy, bro. Don't fucking ever forget. 400 years, bro. Look at us, man. Look at us. God damn.
What they called witchcraft was actually wisdom. African spirituality isn't about worshiping idols. It's about living in harmony with nature, spirit, and your ancestors. Before colonialism, we didn't fear the spiritual world. We understood it. We honored the land. We listened to dreams. We respected the elders. We didn't need a church to feel divine. We were already connected. But when they invaded Africa, they told us our ways were evil. They burned our shrines, replaced our names, demonized our deities, and made us ashamed of our roots. But guess what? We're remembering now. We're returning. Comment African spirituality if you know it's time to reclaim.
Right now, across America, there is anger, confusion, and uncertainty. Families are struggling, cities are facing unrest, millions are questioning the future of America's dream. But while the Americans face this storm, there is a spirit that cannot be broken, a spirit that has survived centuries of oppression and hardship. The spirit is African. The spirit is unbreakable.
This is why I never argue with people about their faith or belief systems. You see, if a cruise ship capsizes somewhere in the middle of the ocean, but miraculously a Muslim, a Christian, an animist, and an atheist survive, each would return to their respective community and praise whoever they've entrusted their faith to. The Christian would say, "The Lord Jesus Christ saved me." The Muslim would say, "Allah spared my life." The animist will give thanks to the ancestors or to the spirits of nature, while the atheist would say, "I refuse to give up and fought to stay alive." You see, each individual see their experience as a validation of their belief. That's why one scenario has given birth to four perspectives, simply because belief is about interpretation, not proof. So the African in me cannot argue with you because every culture under the sun have tried and are still trying to make sense of this puzzle we call life. However, beyond belief, there is the daily stress of the rising cost of living and society's pressure to deliver with no midwife in sight. Yet, there is always money to be embezzled or spent in wars. You see, this is a struggle imposed on humanity by a few greedy and corrupt individuals across the globe who always seem determined to complicate our lives further. However, the irony of all this is that those who control the chaos do not care about your religion or...
As I said before, the Orisha, which is the Yoruba term for the spirits, some call the gods, the Abason, the Twi word, the Vodun, which is the Fon word from ancient Dahomey. These are all characteristics of the one creative principle. That is, it is the way that that one spiritual force manifests itself in the universe, and that happens in many ways, so that the African is able to relate to the many different ways in which that force is manifested in the universe. The Europeans took that, and as a form of cultural imperialism, they said, we are going to call that polytheism. And we are going to say that we have a superior concept, monotheism. And we're going to say that people who believe in polytheism are backward and are primitive.
To look at America today, Inflation, layoffs, healthcare crisis, social unrest. People are frustrated, exhausted, worried about their future. Yet, African Americans, descendants of people who survived slavery, Jim Crow, and racism, carry a history of resilience. A resilience rooted in Africa. Resilience that says we endure, we adapt, we rise. Even in communities facing poverty, violence, or neglect, there is a determination that refuses to be extinguished, because the African spirit is not more like just about survival. It's about thriving against all odds.
If you want to know how big of a problem hunger is in rural America, spend time at a mobile food bank.
It's 90% of what I consume.
74-year-old Lorna Hall made sure to be the first at this line in Clinton, Missouri.
You've been here since last night.
Yeah.
It's that important to get what you need.
Yes. And I don't keep the car running. I can't afford the gas, so I have sleeping bags to stay warm.
Folks here share a similar raw reality.
I still feel bad that I have to come up here and sit on a line, to get food. It's embarrassing as hell.
Leo and Donita Barnett are among the 175 households receiving food today.
Thank God we got it. We'd probably be sitting down there laying underneath a tree somewhere.
It's a matter of life or death.
It is. It is.
Pastor Marty Reese oversees the distribution.
We're in serious times. I mean, people are struggling. Cost of living's went up, everything.
In Africa, empire like Mali, Songhai, and Great Zimbabwe built civilization, and that lasted centuries. This history reminds African American that they are heirs of greatness, inventiveness, and wisdom. It is a legacy that cannot be erased. So when American collapse under politics or economic crisis, the African spirit whispers, remember who they are. Remember who you are. Remember that your ancestors overcame. You are stronger than this moment. So if your ancestors have overcome this, survived this, and are living and they died for us, who am I not to overcome this? The African spirit sustained by faith. Faith in God, faith in ancestors, faith in each other, and it thrives in community, extended families, neighborhood, churches, and grassroots movement act as safety nets when society fails. Right now, as Americans struggle to pay bills, feed their families, or find safety, communities built on African value, mutual aid, shared responsibilities, and care for the vulnerable. This is how hope survives, even in chaos.
I think you'll know the practice called voodoo. Well known on the negative side.
Yes, yeah.
African slaves that were taken in ships who practiced their own African indigenous spirituality. When they were inside the ships, they were forced to practice Catholicism. And they were given Mary and all, Rosemary and all these things within the ships.
Yeah.
Remember, it took years to go.
Yes.
And then you know what they did? When they were inside the ships, they practiced voodoo or African indigenous spirituality. But whenever the slave masters came to see them, they put back the elements of Catholicism. When they arrive in your Caribbeans, in your Americans, etc., the other generations, they thought that it's one, voodoo together with Mary. You can just Google.
You guys need to leave African spirituality alone. You want to know what the most frustrating part about being on this app and other social media platforms is as an African? It's the fact that anytime we as Africans try to warn you guys who try to dabble or want to dabble or are dabbling in African spirituality against doing so, you dismiss us. As though we haven't grown up on the African continent, as though we haven't experienced exactly what it is that we are warning you against. You like to believe that the reason for our advice is because we are so stupid and so silly as Africans, we're so uneducated, we don't have any thoughts that pertain to our own ideas, that we have allowed the white man to come and brainwash us into believing in Christianity. That is not the case. In fact, the reason that so many African people are so on fire for the Lord is because we have escaped African spirituality. We have seen African spirituality firsthand. We've grown up in African spirituality, which is witchcraft. It's evil, it's paganism. And we've narrowly escaped African spirituality. And that
the other mistake that the missionaries, the Christian missionaries made also is this thing that when we talk like this, they'll be saying we're worshiping the dead. Now, there is no African word for ancestor worship. Now, we're saying if you can't name it, you can't claim it. So if you don't have a word for it, what is it doesn't exist. What is polytheism? We don't have polytheism. We don't have that. We don't have animism. We don't have pantheism. We don't have deities and divinities and demons or monotheism for that particular matter. So therefore, what we are dealing with now, we are dealing with a situation where we are caught up in a situation where we are using European concepts to define African phenomena. We are saying Mudimu is God, as if Mudimu has an English name, like most Africans who were colonized under apartheid, that you have to be Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. Your name is Rolihlahla, but you must have an English name, which is basically a Christian name, which is basically a colonial name. Because colonialism, when it was brought to us, it came with CCC, that they're coming to colonize.
This divine sign, this is the preeminent sign of the African spiritual high culture, because it honors, first of all, the mother, the womb. It honors the father, and the sense of the children that comes from the womb through the seed of the father. It also symbolizes the water that rises up from the earth, up to the clouds, falling back on the earth as rain to bring vegetation out of the ground. It also is spirit, mind, and matter. So however you look at
Africa must be brought back. We cannot bring back the heads of animals that used to roam this place. We cannot bring back the lions that used to sit under these trees. Nor can we bring back the birds that used to nest on those trees. But we can bring back their memories. We can bring back the spirit of Africa. We can take Africa and place...
Art, music, storytelling, these are not just experiences, expressions. They are acts of survival, from jazz to hip-hop. Afrobeat to spoken words, African Americans have turned pain into power. Today, as our cities face protests, economy, hardship, and political unrest, creativity is a tool of resilience. It reminds people even in darkness, beauty and hope can shine. Here is the truth. America is facing crisis. People are scared. Systems are falling. But the unbreakable African spirit teaches that hope is resistance. Even when government fail, even when the economy collapses, the spirit persists. It adapts to survive. It fights. It don't run away. It don't give up. The spirit says to Black Americans and to all Americans, you are not powerless. You are carrying, or you carry the strength of generations. You carry the resilience of empire. You carry the unbreakable will to rise. So, as Americans struggle, remember the African spirit lives in you. It has endured slavery, colonization, oppression, and systemic neglect. And today, it whispers the same truth. You will survive, you will endure, you will rise again. This is Global. Subscribe, share, and leave a comment. This Global, bringing you global news. Don't even base in one area. We base worldwide. We base in America. We base in Africa. We base in black people. We base on white people. Don't lie on one side. We lie on both sides. We want to give you what you should hear about both sides. No matter how America is struggling, they are going through what Africa and others went through already. So our spirits remind us every single day. Remember one thing: you endured oppression, you endured slavery, you endured everything. So you are more than this, you are stronger than this, and you will achieve this. So subscribe here, share, leave a comment for the next video, because anytime I post a video, you find it the first one. Do this, turn on the bell. I'm more than peace be with you.